Hi, this is Aaron Booker with Varvid TV, and we're doing a cloud session today. We're talking about cloud on many fronts, and super glad to have great session here from Trend Micro to Microsoft to a couple of great partners both from the US and Costa Rica. So what I'd like to do is start with Javier and just introduce yourself, give a little bit about your business and how you are using the cloud.
Great, thank you. Well, my name is Javier Abreu, and I am from Consul Tech in Costa Rica. We're an infrastructure partner focused on mid-market and small business. In fact, we won the mid-market award this year for Microsoft.
Fantastic.
And well, the way we're involved with the cloud, we started with BPOS about a year ago. Not exactly sure about the way it was going to work for us, I mean in terms of business, but we decided to go at it anyway. It was something was coming, we couldn't do much about it, and we thought most of the quirks will be solved in time as they run along.
Fantastic. And Dave, can you introduce yourself and your business?
Of course, Dave Seibert, IT Innovators, right here in Southern California. We're a Microsoft Gold partner as well as a small business specialist.
Okay.
And infrastructure is primarily what we do, so outsourced IT. And we've been doing cloud for quite some time at different levels. So we do a lot of backup in the cloud, we do a lot of Exchange, SharePoint in the cloud, and other things like mail filtering in the cloud. So a lot of cloud services.
Beyond mail and the traditional things.
Exactly.
And then BVA, can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
So I'm Brian von Axelson officially, but as usual with Microsoft, I was acronymed about 5 years ago.
What's wrong with the TLA after all?
Totally. So it's become a brand, so I'm known as BVA, and I'm part of the Microsoft TS2 team. And my role at Microsoft is to act as a partner technology advisor. So I'm out having discussions both from a business and a technical conversation to help our partners, enable them not only to understand, to sell, to implement our different solutions.
Fantastic.
Hi, I'm Robert Krause, Director of Corporate Business Development from Trend. Most people know Trend is one of the leading providers of security. I think most people know us as desktop AV, but a significant part of our business, and certainly the largest growing part of our business, is around virtualization and cloud computing. And many of our corporate customers going from a virtualized world are now saying, okay, how do I leverage the cloud and make that transition? But as I do that, I need to make sure that my data is protected.
Absolutely.
Right.
Well, it's great to have this nice breadth here because we've got cloud from the Microsoft perspective and cloud from a security perspective and all of these different pieces. So you were starting to talk a little bit about how this BPOS and you're engaging with it, but you've got a longer backstory with the cloud than just BPOS. And so how did you come into starting to use and why did you choose that, to start using the cloud to deliver services for your clients?
Well, we started delivering services with Exchange. We were doing, for our customers, we were doing on-premise, and we also started hosting Exchange for several customers. Basically, along that time, when they started announcing that BPOS was coming, we saw the price structure that they had, and honestly, we couldn't compete against that.
Sure.
So even though we had some doubts in the business, we decided to go all at it and and engage it with our customers, and we started moving a lot of our customers from the traditional mail and SharePoint environments over to BPOS. We had some success with that, and we even got into a couple fights with our friends from Google, and we won. So
you got some nice wins.
Oh yeah, we're happy with that. Then we got Office 365, and we our company was an early adopter. When the betas came out, we moved into Office 365 all our infrastructure, and use that to demo the technology to our customers.
Super.
We're still working on the business side of it, but I guess again that's going to be working better for partners as time comes by.
Fantastic. So Dave, what about you? Can you tell me, I mean, I know I've known you for way too long, so you've been doing a lot of things with the cloud for a long time.
Long time. Matter of fact, we started by doing web hosting. And a lot of people, when you think cloud, you don't think web hosting, but it really is cloud.
That's right.
So we've done everything from web hosting in the cloud to SharePoint in the cloud to Exchange in the cloud.
And go
backup.
back, how many years back are we talking about here?
Well, web hosting, it's been almost 8.
Okay.
So goes back. So.
And working with partners. I mean,
with partners.
And you weren't providing your own servers. You were reselling services on other.
Both.
Both.
So as a good example, mail filtering. Mail filtering, we host it, we put it in a colo, and we manage it ourselves.
Okay.
Other things like SharePoint, we let other people build out the ad infrastructure, and then we leverage the infrastructure, find the best of breed, and then offer that service to our clients. Online backup, well, there's a lot of services. We could talk about them for a while, but I have used quite a few.
Now, I know that you kind of skipped BPOS. So talk a little bit about why you did that and why you're thinking about Office 365 now.
2 core reasons. I think the first one is that with BPOS, it didn't have the breadth of offering that we wanted to provide to our clients for what we felt they needed. Number 2 is that the billing structure. So with our clients, we like the ability to go ahead and present them with a solution and a bill each month. It's predictable, they understand it, and that way we help them manage that. And we weren't able to do that. I see Office 365 is a little different because the breadth of what it offers is just incredible, because we have not only a hosting solution, we have an on-prem solution between all the 7 different flavors. And then also there's even a web presence version. So we have 3 different flavors, 7 different SKUs. It opened the barn doors to something we never had before.
And some of the decision making behind Microsoft, how is Microsoft, it seemed like Microsoft learned some things from BPOS and obviously has done the right things to get partners to engage.
We have, and a critical part to our success, as we've transitioned from BPOS into Office 365 is listening to our partners, and a lot of things that we have tried to put into place directly, has come from feedback from our partners in the breadth of the offerings. So now we have what I consider the ability to, very similar to our on-premise solutions, cross-sell, upsell conversations, where we can take what we consider the small business SKU, that is the least expensive bundled offering, and then also move all the way up to a full voice over IP solution that is a hybrid of part on-premise and part cloud. And really, as we look at it from the Microsoft perspective, we're delivering solutions through our partners, and we have to have the ability to offer and continue to offer our on-premise, as well as adapt to the industry changes that are happening and give the ability to offer cloud. But then the strength of Microsoft is really about the idea that you can do either or you can even have a combination and have coexistence. And when you look at some of Microsoft's competitors, it's pretty much an all or nothing proposition for web. And so that's where we look at the strength of Microsoft, continuing to deliver our technology-based solutions through our partners, and let the partners have the conversation with their customers. That's one of the things that I look at resonating here at WPC, is that partners are excited to have that conversation. And kind of what we look at from the Microsoft perspective is it's not about abandon the on-premise conversation. It's about adding the cloud solutions to your toolkit, adding it as another competency from the Microsoft perspective, so that you can have a conversation with your customer, because if you as the partner are not having the conversation, somebody else is.
That's right. And Robert, is that same thing that you're seeing as well?
Yeah, no, the thing that resonated here with me is, where it makes sense, right?
Right.
Partners like Dave can deliver a whole range of Microsoft solutions to their customers, but then you start to think about, okay, the cloud, there's this rush to jump to it, but the reality is you need to think about it, and for some applications it makes sense, some it doesn't. And even if you do plan to get there, there's a process you want to go through to get yourself there. So when I'm out talking to customers, and I spend a lot of time also in front of service providers, it's giving a range of services and a migration to get there, right?
And I know that you guys just announced a product for Small Business Server Essentials.
Correct. So our worry-free product is cloud-based, and Trend has actually over the last 2 years invested a significant amount of time and energy and resources in taking a number of our products and moving them to the cloud. And customers today could install worry-free in-house, but they can also have a cloud-based, hosted solution, and Dave and others can help you install it. The other is we even have recently announced products for data encryption in the cloud. So yes, I want to move my data there, but how do I know it's protected?
And so it's what I'm seeing that I think is really exciting right now about the cloud and what's going on is I love small business, and I love the channel, and I love the fact that the smallest clients can get the power of the enterprise. And in some ways, I think that with great partners like you guys, they're going to engage with these great services faster than enterprise. They're going to get this full, robust solution. They're not the guys that are running Office 2000 and Windows XP, like we heard around the keynote this morning. They are, because they've got strong partner relationships, using the new products and getting on board with the cloud in a hybrid type fashion.
So you touched on something that I'm going to add to.
Go for it.
And that is that a lot of enterprise have been covered. Okay, enterprise is, I won't say they're 100% taken care of, but we get the idea. Enterprise is in good shape. There's a lot of small business opportunity out there that they don't have the server, they don't have the infrastructure, and they maybe not have upgraded and stayed current with technology. Because of the whole Office 365 offering, it makes it affordable, and it allows a partner who may not have had that opportunity to engage to use that as a tool to engage. And the second thing I'd add to it is that there's the whole services side. You can't forget the services. You just don't, check the box and all of a sudden they're up and running. They need integration, they need help, they need migration. And I think the number was something like, for every $1 of Microsoft services, a partner has something like $8.70 in their services. Great opportunity to reach out and touch those small businesses with new infrastructure, technology, low dollars.
Well, and of course, from a capital perspective, if you're not having to spend all that money on servers, and instead you can spend it on a small monthly recurring expense and add new users, that's
services for us.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Well,
Spend it on your business.
That's one of the attractive features of moving to the cloud, especially for the SMB, is it starts to change the conversation from a capital expenditure, an outlay at the beginning of a project, or maybe even financing, to moving it to an operational expense. And as we've done some of our different studies and research, we know that the partners, they make the most margin on services. That is what they're selling. They're selling their knowledge, their time. They are becoming that trusted advisor status. And it's, when you have that type of engagement, you can open up, maybe some different opportunities, that they can't take advantage of, but they need, some of the capabilities of Trend Micro that maybe they wouldn't be able to purchase because they have a capital outlay. And so it starts to change the dynamics of the conversation for our partners, with our customers. And quite honestly, they start to get more capabilities. And that's where we hear that conversation of bringing the enterprise down into the small business. And so bringing some of the capabilities that we want all businesses to have.
And it's interesting too, because what I see sometimes with enterprises, they can be some of the slowest people to change. They're the ones hanging on to XP, well, Windows 7, gosh, it's such new technology.
IE6.
Oh my, yeah, IE6, what a nightmare. I mean, Microsoft has to kick them to the curb on that one. So what I see is now they can leapfrog all of this technology, and move, right to the latest and greatest without having kind of this mindset of, well, we're stuck in the past. So what are you seeing down in Costa Rica? What are you seeing with your clients and that trusted advisor role? how are you able to help them grow their businesses?
Well, basically, customers are like that we can bring the level of service that enterprise is used to down to small and medium business. Usually, to get that level of service, either when they go to a company, they don't get it. They are focused on the enterprise, or it's too expensive for them. So we're looking at that the customers in small and medium companies are really grateful that they can talk to a company that will give them that level of service and bring these products down to them. So they don't have to spend as much in licensing or hardware. They don't have to renew that licensing and hardware every 2 years, every 3 years. So they're focusing everything into service, and that's where we're happy.
And of course, that's how you're going to make the biggest difference for them, is when you really can consult with them and teach them about how to most effectively use the products. Because the problem with the past is, by the time the small business had spent so much money on just acquiring all of the software and acquiring the hardware, they didn't have the money left to really use it as effectively as they could have.
So let's just take that enterprise ability and bring it down to an SMB price tag.
The other thing that I look at is the elasticity conversation as well. The ability to scale up, to scale down, unfortunately, but also to scale out. And it really gives a certain level of comfort to the small business owners that they have that ability to really look at it, quite honestly, on a monthly basis. And look at, am I growing? Do I need to add? As opposed to maybe a capital expenditure at the beginning. We're trying to think about growth, we're forecasting, could be more of a risk factor into buying a complete solution to build for the future. Whereas with the monthly conversation, the CapEx versus OpEx, now we're looking at enabling the customers to really focus on their business and then take advantage of that elasticity model. So as they do grow, we can grow with them.
And it's not just growing up and growing down. I mean, there's all these seasonal businesses. So I look at that,
exactly.
and so and that's been very painful in the past for them, because they really have to overbuild their infrastructure for what might only be a ski season or might only be some other kind of short season.
Before I joined Microsoft, I was with a tax software company.
Oh,
there's a classic example. Yep. We would be running with well over 200, 250 employees from approximately November to just around the end of April. Go figure, here in the States. So, perfect model. And then we also know that Q4, around the United States, retail buying season.
Absolutely.
So great examples.
I have a family member who provides accounting systems for nursing homes. Really once a month job. The end of the month, they need to do these big runs, where in the past they've had to spend all this money on the hardware. I'm sitting down one night at dinner, I'm like, have you ever thought about trying a different model?
Sure.
And you pay for what you use.
Yeah.
If you need more, okay, you have it, but then when you're done, you don't have it. And they don't have also the thing I found now that they've been doing this for 6 or 8 months, is from a management standpoint, anxiety standpoint of having just to maintain.
That's right.
They don't have that human cost anymore, right? Somebody else is worrying about the day-to-day ops, and they're focused on their business.
And really, that's what our clients all need, is to focus on their business, and then let us help them do that more effectively, so that we can be that trusted business advisor. What's something that you've seen where you've brought some of these solutions in, and businesses, think of it, cite a business example where they've just been transformational for them?
Oh, I think there's 2 really good examples. The first one is productivity. You already touched on the fact that some businesses are seasonal, and therefore they don't have to have that expense all year, the CapEx, they have the OpEx. But the second thing is the productivity that it brings them. Probably 60 to 70% of a small business's expense budget is human, is the labor force.
Right.
And because these are new tools, we're not running 2003 versions, we're not running IE6, you get the idea that they're modern tools. The productivity inside those tools, today's age. Because of that, we allow our clients to be a lot more productive. And that brings incredible value. I think the second thing is peace of mind. So as a solution provider, our whole goal is to make sure that the livelihood of our clients not only one sustains, but grows. If we help them grow, they're going to continue to use us. It's a real self-serving model. We're going to help them grow, they're going to continue to use our service. So we make sure that their business livelihood is strong. They don't have to worry about security, they don't have to worry about backup, fire, flood, theft, internal, anything. So we take the worry away, and then they can just focus on their business, as you said. That's the value.
Well, and I notice even in my small business, we are using a quoting application that syncs to Azure. So I am, running quoting on my desktop, putting out bids for video, and then that's how I'm doing it. And
from anywhere.
And from anywhere. And we are everywhere. So it really helps us a lot to have that flexibility, and I see so much of that. And the other thing is, the people that I'm hiring tend to be young. They're coming out of college, and they're used to living in the web. They don't think about legacy thoughts. They just want to have everything web-based. And the nice thing about these tools is that gives you the flexibility to work the way that you want to work. If you're a traditionalist, I really, really prefer to run Outlook natively. Then I have that control. But when I'm, if something happens and I can go to a kiosk and check my mail, fantastic. But some of my team, that's really how they work, day in, day out. They're working in a web browser. And Microsoft's been great because it's no longer restricted to IE6 or an IE flavor. Any browser works, and so you have this great flexibility to work the way that you want to work.
It's a social online generation.
And again, from that browser perspective, again, feedback from the partners to build a premium experience across multiple devices and across multiple browsers. Whereas in the past, take BPOS for example, wasn't necessarily a premium experience if you were outside the Microsoft products. But again, feedback, because that's the way we look at it is we want the end user, the customer, to be able to transcend different devices and have that premium experience follow them, and then also have the capability that as they work on these different devices, that they have that high fidelity as they come back to the traditional desktop. Because, let's face it, there's multiple types of devices and ways that we are accessing our information today. And so that's where we start to look at how we're building our solutions from the perspective of the customer. Well, how are they going to use it? And I think that's some of the, if you think of the industry transformations, I think that's some of the transformations that are happening at Microsoft.
I also think about mobility, and I thought the keynote this morning on Digital WPC was fantastic, and Richard Branson talking about work-life balance and the flexibility of having people work from home and work the way that they want to. And I find when I empower my people to work from home that they end up working more, not less, because now they have that flexibility to work the way they want to, whether they're working on their phone or they're working on their tablet or they're working on their PC or they're, it's on a weekend, and so they have that flexibility. And so mobility is something also that's so important about the cloud because it just makes it easier.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to the home because I'm a mobile worker, and it becomes a blurry line. But with that, there's a lot of flexibility. And I think that's where we're maximizing our use of technology and our solutions, and having the partners deliver that conversation to the customers, that it's not just you have to come in, to the office to access your information. We look at, some of the technologies that were brought out with the server, with the new remote desktop services, with direct access. It's about being connected no matter where those services live. And then it's up to the partner to have that conversation with the customer to see, does it live on-premise or does it live in the cloud?
And we should really briefly touch on Windows 8. And the reason that's exciting is because it was announced that it's going to be a common platform. So not only support the x86 platform that it has for years, but now over to the ARM processor, which means we're going to have a common platform across mobile devices, tablet devices, desktop, laptop, and of course all of that will talk to the cloud. And because it's a common platform across all of it, it's just going to open up even more opportunities.
And it's not going to require hardware that's going to be more robust, so that's going to really make things interesting from those smaller form factors that you mentioned that are getting more and more powerful right now.
Right.
So the hardware is going to be able to really run fast.
Developers like us, once again, one platform, not writing to 20 different things and trying to support 20 different versions. So that's makes us happy as well.
Yeah, and so you can write to and other kinds of developers that are writing for Azure and writing to the cloud. It's just write once, deploy many. I mean, that's the dream, right?
That's right. And if I decide I need to update something, I'm changing even my model where instead of doing once or twice a year, I can make changes and implement them very fast. Customer doesn't even know what's happening behind the scene, right? Next time they're online, they use their environment. Oh, all right,
It's better now.
That's right, it's better.
Exactly.
And what are you seeing down in Costa Rica? Some of these things, I mean, like mobility, is that becoming a bigger and bigger issue?
Well, not only in Costa Rica, but a lot of countries in Latin America have vehicle restrictions because of all the traffic. So depending on the license number you have, there is probably one or a couple days that you cannot drive around in the city. So even we've been forced to go into that mobility and have a lot of people work from home at least once or twice a week. So we had to find a solution and fast for them to be able to tap into their emails, be able to see their documents, look at their intranets for work information. And BPOS and Office now Office 365 have been working great to do that because now they don't have to deploy their own technology. It just works very fine with BPOS.
I want to start to think about wrapping up. What are the things that you're seeing out there, that are really, as we look forward and you think about where are we going in the next 3 years and 5 years with the cloud? What are the kinds of things that you're seeing?
Well, I think you're going to continue to see this evolution where, right, I use a notebook. The majority of my life, I can see a year from now, a year and a half from now, I'm doing everything on a tablet or some other, smart device that I can get all the applications I want, but use it anywhere, right? I was in Sao Paulo 4 or 5 weeks ago, and you're right? Traffic's horrible, but I was able to get to all of my applications, be able to do whatever I needed from there. 3 weeks I'm in Barcelona. I have access to all my information there. I think the ability from wherever you are, regardless of whatever device you're on, having access to the tools you need, I think it's just going to become easier and easier.
Yeah, I really would echo the same comments. I mean, it's really starting to focus on what I call the end user or the customer experience on whatever device it is. And you kind of look at that, that was part of the name shift from BPOS to Office 365 because Office is our productivity tool set. When you talk to somebody about email, they typically don't bring up Exchange Server or another product. They talk exactly like you talked a little bit earlier, Outlook. When you talk about collaborating,
exactly.
It's about Word, it's about Excel. So we start to look at, it's about looking at it from the customer perspective and an end user experience on a platform of devices, whatever that device may be. And then the partners, working with their customers to design what are the services, what are the solutions that are going to be delivered to those devices, and then setting up the infrastructure to accomplish that. Whether that is taking advantage of what we call private cloud, what we call public cloud. You have all these acronyms: software as a service, platform as a service, infrastructure as a service. We have the traditional mindset of on-premise. It's at the end of the day, the customers really don't care about that. What they care about is what is their experience on the device. Can they get to their information? Can they be productive? No matter what device they're using. And I think if we look at it from that perspective, that we can transcend multiple devices, maintain the solution, maintain the experience, that's what we're looking at for the future.
Absolutely. What about you, Javier? What do you see?
Well, definitely agree. We're going to see a lot more tablets in our workforce, and more and more embracing the home office model in our countries because of traffic, because of distance, and because of going to different countries that are far away, so that they need to be able to access all this. So I guess we're gonna see an explosion of cloud-based services. We're already looking at it, but it's gonna be even more. And I think a lot of partners will be rethinking the way we do business traditionally and see how we can wrap more services around this cloud service explosion that we're going to see.
What about you, Dave?
So, two core things. The first one, from a partner perspective, don't fear it. Instead, it's an incredible opportunity.
Great point.
And the breadth of solution that we can offer our clients because of this makes it that opportunity. And then I think the last thing is when you say the cloud, it really has so many faces to it. Like BVA said, you have the public cloud, you have the private cloud, you have a hybrid model with the new Small Business Server Essential. So now we have all of these different variations, and that opened up even more opportunities. So I think the key word, opportunities, that's really what it is.
I just think it's an exciting time to be in tech. I see so much opportunity for partners and vendors. I just think it's a great time for us to be moving forward and really take advantage of these opportunities and not be afraid that just because it's Microsoft or it's Trend Micro that we need to fear that our customers are going away. The services, the relationships, the advice, that trusted business advisor relationship, that's what carries the day. That's what matters, and our customers love it. But I did want to mention we've got a couple more webcasts coming up. So there'll be a webcast at 5 o'clock today, and again tomorrow at 1, and at 3, and at 5. It's been a great WPC so far, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's coming up next. Thanks so much. So appreciate it, and we'll see you tomorrow.